show you Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, and please, I beg you to look it up for yourself. So this way you can have a connection directly to God through the prophets of Israel. That's what's so important. A nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither will they learn of war anymore. And as you said, in New York City, right across from the United Nations on 42nd Street, it has these words on the Isaiah wall. Now, you know what's not in there is the verse before that, because it says in verse 3, in Pasuk Gimel, it says, Ki mitzion te'te'toyer devar Hashem Yerushalayim. That they don't have on the Isaiah wall. So I want to show you something very interesting. This is so interesting. So on the Isaiah wall in the United Nations, on 1st Avenue and 42nd Street, you have Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. Right? What we just read. You don't have verse 3. Now, you, the viewer, tell me, why is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 3 not on the in front of the United Nations? Why not? Because it says there that Ki mitzion, for out of Zion will go forth the Torah, the law, and the word of God from Jerusalem. So that the UN picks the next verse. That what will happen, that they'll turn their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, that they put in. Okay, you understand what happened here? You get this. Now, this is what's very key. Now, your brain is going to fly out the window. But listen very carefully. These epic words, that even the United Nations had the brains to at least put up verse 4. At least they put a verse 4. I'm not a fan of the United Nations. I assure you I'm not. But they even had the brains and the guts to put up Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4, not verse 3. The Christian Bible, the entire New Testament, you're probably wondering how many times do any of these verses appear in the Christian Bible? The answer is 0. That means the New Testament didn't even have the courage of the United Nations. You know what a low bar that is? The UN picks and chooses and put up verse 4, not verse 3. All right, that's the United Nations. But a book that purports to be the Word of God, what Christians believe, if you're a Christian, please don't be offended by me. I say this because I care. You're not garbage. You're not second-class citizens. The Jewish people care about you. We're here for you. This is why I'm saying this to you. How could it be that Isaiah chapter 2 is absent from the New Testament? The reason is because this goes to the other questions. Because Jesus accomplished none of these things. In fact, in the first century, it's not that there wasn't an end to war. There was more war than ever. In fact, the greatest war that the Jews engaged in with the empire, with the Roman Empire, was in the first century. Between 66 to 70, or really to 73, when Masada was destroyed. We had many wars, but nothing was as horrible as that. And the destruction of the Second Temple was the worst nightmare. It was much worse. It was a greater Khurban, with many more deaths than the destruction of the First Temple. Both were tragedies, but the Second Temple destruction, for which we have a lot of sources, not only all over the place, that was a nightmare. Really, hundreds of thousands of Jews died in the battles with the empire. So we had no peace, and the Jews were not gathered in. They were expelled from the land of Israel. The temple, and this goes to the other question you asked, because it's all, this is like science. It's all integrated. You can't separate one element of science from another. All of it works together. So that's how Tanakh is, yes.
Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yetzir nivra, v'nasa, b'chefetzo kol, azay melech,